Yeah.
And we are gonna. Well, that's all I have to say about that. We're looking into broadening our live video footprint. But what that looks like, I have no idea. Okay, so I think we're probably going. So anyway, just to run down, we'll just get started. Megan and I will do the intro thing. Then we'll transfer over, and then we'll do the thing. We can talk all about the Sanctuary and the film festival and stuff like that. And I don't know if anybody's actually checking, so I'm just going to open up a separate browser, and check myself to see that we're live. Then I'll do the tweet, and then we'll get going. Cool. All right. Let's see. Yep, I hear me. So we're good. Okay.
Is it weird to hear yourself live?
Yes, but yes. I'll leave it at that. But there's a lot of weird stuff with the way I have this set up, so I'm used to weirdness. All right, so now let me do the tweet, and then we'll go. All right, let's see. All right. Retweet with a quote. We are live now. Yay. How about cool? Audio only because we want to actually, because Stuart has a face made for podcasting. Especially pre-coffee. Okay. All right. Because audio only because pre-coffee. There we go. All right. There we go. Live now. I did the tweet. There's Stephanie. Oh, I don't know. Are we following you? Wow, that was a huge mistake. Now we're following you. Okay. All right. I didn't realize you had a thing, or I would have tagged you. Anyway. All right. Cool. So now that we're live, I will do the intro. Let's hear it.
Teach me about the Great Lakes. Teach me about the Great Lakes.
Welcome back to Teach Me About the Great Lakes, a twice-monthly podcast in which I, a Great Lakes novice, ask people who are smarter and harder working than I am to teach me all about the Great Lakes. My name is Stuart Carlton, and I know a lot about walking your son to school in 8-degree weather and forgetting your gloves, at which point you feel the chill deep in your bones, and you start to question things about your life, namely why you forgot your gloves. But I don't know a lot about the Great Lakes, and that's the point of this here podcast. I'm joined today by the amazing, the awesome Megan Gunn. Megan, how are you?
I'm good, Stuart. How are you doing?
I'm also good. Actually, my hands are warming up. I am cupping my mug of coffee. I am absorbing its warmth.
Way to go.
And more importantly, I'm absorbing its caffeine. We're recording early this morning, but that's good. I like it. I don't know what my excuse will be for brain fog, but I'll come up with one. No, but I'm really fired up. So because this is a timely, we like to be a timely show, always, right? And we have our finger on the pulse of what's going on throughout the Great Lakes. And so I'm super fired up today because our old friend, so we just had the Lakeys, right? And as we know, I happen to be a Lakey winner. Megan nominated and suggested that I win a Lakey, and who am I to override the will of the people? I don't want to do that. We have a separate thing that's secret and internal that's not there for public consumption, and that is our guest Hall of Fame. And that's got, we've got about 50 episodes, and it's got about a dozen members. And today we have a Hall of Famer back on, and that's going to be Stephanie Gondola. She works for the Thunderbay National Marine Sanctuary, and they've got a really cool thing coming up. Actually, a Lakey-nominated event coming up that we're going to talk all about. But beyond that, Stephanie is just really amazing. She has a really cool job. She's a marine archaeologist, and anytime you can talk to a marine archaeologist, you have to, I think. So let's just head on over there. I got some new tunes that I made over the break. Which one should we do? Let's try this one.
I like that one. I do too.
Stephanie Gondola. She's a research coordinator and marine archaeologist at the Thunderbay National Marine Sanctuary. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm doing great this morning, trying to stay warm, just like you.
Yeah, I bet. So you're up in Michigan near the sanctuary. What city are you in?
Alpena, Michigan. So just at the northern bit of the lower peninsula of Michigan.
Okay. Lower. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, so you're right at the tip of the glove.
Pretty much, yeah. Right at like the tip of half an inch down from your index finger.
The index finger, not the tip of the key finger. Okay. That was the next question, but I'll avoid that one. All right. So let's have some weather. Come on. I want to live vicariously. Do you have we don't get snow here. We just deal with the miserable cold and it never snows. Mm-hmm. It snows once a year and I take my kids sledding and I almost have a heart attack. And then I come home and then I say, that was fun. I'm glad it's over. But then it never happens again. So are y'all do you have feet of snow? I hope. Can I live through you?
We do have quite a bit of snow. I was just checking and it has warmed up to 9 degrees here this morning in beautiful Alpena. We had a snow day, so Alpena Public Schools were closed yesterday because of a snow day. So I guess that means we got some snow, we got some ice up here.
Yeah, good. That's fun. Winter sports are fun. Yeah, I was up at Michigan Tech, which I guess is up in the UP, isn't it? And I was like, if you're into winter sports, a place like this, and going to college and studying all that naturally, but if you go to college for more than one reason, that could be a reason. Well, great. But that's not why we're here today either. We're here to talk about Thunder Bay and the film festival coming up. First of all, so for those who don't remember your first episode, which was episode 14, tell me about Thunder Bay Marine Sanctuary. That's like a weird thing to hear about because the Great Lakes, I don't know if you know, it's actually one of the things I've learned. The Great Lakes are freshwater, not marine at all. But we have a marine sanctuary. So what gives with that?
So we really should be called Thunder Bay National Lacustrine Sanctuary, right?
I'll trust
However, one of the very cool things about Thunder Bay is that we're part of a national system, and that's the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, which has 16 sites all across our beautiful country, celebrating and protecting our underwater treasures. And those treasures are both natural and cultural. So natural being, deep sea canyons, massive salt domes in the Gulf of Mexico, humpback whale migration routes, coral reefs, of course. But then you come to the Great Lakes and we focus on America's special cultural resources. Easy way to say that, shipwrecks. We've got lots and lots of shipwrecks.
Shipwrecks, yes. Like lots within the sanctuary itself. How many are in the sanctuary?
Well, within the 4,300 square miles that encompass the sanctuary, so that's off the shores of Northeast Michigan, encompassing 3 counties, so pretty massive area, stretches from the shoreline of Northeast Michigan all the way to the Canadian border. And 4,300 square miles, we have 100 shipwrecks that we've identified. And we estimate, this is a really cool thing, and what makes my job super fun, we estimate there's at least that many more to find. So we get to go out and look for shipwrecks.
Wow.
That's
that was
cool.
going to be my next question. So how many shipwrecks are in the Great Lakes total then that you know of?
So that's a great question that people always ask. And we don't have like an exact answer, of course, because we're still looking. But the estimates I've heard from other archaeologists and historians are anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, hold on one second. Stephanie, that was good. That was real good. But just 1 second before you give us that.
It's a Great Lakes factoid, a Great Lakes factoid. It's a great factoid about the Great Lakes.
Now, what was that again?
We estimate, archaeologists and historians in the Great Lakes estimate there's anywhere between 6,000 to 10,000 shipwrecks in all 5 of the lakes.
Wow. That's been a thing that since I moved here has been the most eye-opening for me. And it's so obvious once you think about it, but everything's obvious once you think about it. It never really occurred to me what huge just shipping and boating and went on in this area. And in many ways, it's the big story of we talked a lot about, never actually did a book club on Death and Life of the Great Lakes, but there he talks about the maritime stuff a lot in terms of introductions of aquatic invasive species, but also shipwrecks. So most of those are shipping vessels. Is that primarily what they are?
Well, all of them that we've identified in Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary, so in northern Lake Huron, are indeed those commercial vessels, which, attest and point to exactly what you were talking about, that, lots of traffic, building America's economy really back in the 19th century. And so it's the shipping. And so schooners and steamers that were very like the semi trucks and the trains on the interstate and the train tracks today. Now, there are some more vessels, particularly in Lake Ontario, which, very interestingly, there is a proposed National Marine Sanctuary. This is also not breaking news, but late news. Some of the latest in the Great Lakes as far as marine protected areas. Just in June of this year, the second freshwater National Marine Sanctuary was designated. For many years, Thunderbay was the only freshwater National Marine Sanctuary. Now we are still the first, but we're not the only anymore. So
you'll always be the first. Don't let them
we'll
take
always
that
be
from
the first. We're not going to give that one up. But off the shores of middle Wisconsin, so off the shores of two rivers in Sheboygan and Manitowoc, is the Lake Michigan. It's Wisconsin Shipwreck Coast National Marine Sanctuary, and designated for very similar reasons to why Thunder Bay was designated, and that's to protect those fragile shipwreck sites that are so well preserved here in the cold fresh water.
And if I'm remembering from the last time we talked to you, these are open to the public to go and explore, correct?
That's exactly right. And that's one of the aspects about this particular marine protected area. In fact, all of the national marine protected areas within the system that we really celebrate, and that's accessibility. We are, even though it's called a sanctuary, which, at first you might think that it's closed off and no one's allowed to come, but we celebrate accessibility and people visiting these sites, because as Jacques Cousteau said, people protect what they love. And how are you going to love someone if you can't really, connect with it? And the best way to connect with these historical artifacts, these shipwrecks, is to snorkel to them, to take your stand-up paddleboard out to a buoy you can see through the clear fresh water, or of course scuba dive to these shipwreck sites. So super accessible, even a glass bottom boat.
There we go. Yeah, and once this COVID stuff's over, that's why I don't dive. I mean, I've scuba, or not scuba. What's the wimpy one? Snorkel. But glass bottom boat. That sounds my speed. So here's my question: you're a big diver. You've done the Big 5 dive, which if people want to hear all about that, go to teachmeaboutthegreatlakes.com/14. That's where Stephanie and our good friend Megan Goss talked about the Big 5 dive. But how many of the shipwrecks in the sanctuary have you? Oh, I screw this up every time. Duvet upon, or whatever it is. Dove in. Right. Yeah.
Well, I like that. Duvet. What's funny is I switch it up every time, and I say these sentences all the time. And sometimes I say dive, sometimes I say dove, scuba dive. I have visited via scuba all of the wrecks that we have mooring buoys on, because that's a big part of what our dive team does, which is go out and deploy these mooring buoys, which are seasonal. So we got to put them out there and then bring them back in. So we maintain these buoys on over 40 shipwreck sites. So I visited all of those, and then probably a handful of others. I of course keep good records in my dive log, but so I'd like to say lots of the shipwrecks we have, but not all of them. I'm not a technical diver, like many of the folks that do travel from all over the world to dive some of our deeper sites. So the deepest I've gone is about 140. The deepest shipwrecks we have, though, upwards of 300 feet deep, that wow. People with really, highly
that's
trained.
Really deep. I don't know. So that's real deep.
Oh, it's real deep. That's really, really deep. So if you think about the environment and the pressures that you have to withstand, not to mention the cold that you experienced this morning walking your son to school, those are serious environmental pressures that you have to learn how to deal with and be very, very trained. And then equipment changes as well.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the snorkeling I've done has been like in the Gulf of Mexico, and that's just nice. It's not cold at all. No,
nice and warm.
Yep, yeah, it's nice and warm, so you can see the sharks coming to attack you as they. Yeah, it's good. Right, Megan, you do some diving, right? Are you? So I know you
That's
do
right.
like research diving, but have you gone to big depths, or have you done shipwrecks?
No, I have done a shipwreck, but I think that they placed it there. I don't think that it was a natural shipwreck. But the deepest I've gone is maybe 80 feet. I'm only an open water diver, so I can't go too deep.
That's
one
pretty
day.
cool.
One day I'll be advanced. But you do need to know. You have to have that training, because the bends are, I'm sure, not fun. I've never had them. But yeah, no, thank you. I'll wait.
Well, the cool thing about the sanctuary, Megan, is you could come here, and as many of our shipwrecks are like in 20 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet that are super packed. And so
this summer, I'll do it this summer.
Yeah.
Good.
No, we need to make a trip. Yeah, we need to make a trip. And so y'all are fully open and everything, like with COVID stuff is, or maybe you're not fully open. What is the, so people now, they're listening, they're like, I've got to go soon. What is your status?
The status of our visitor center, which is amazing, 10,000 square feet of interactive exhibits. It's free, open year round. However, we're pretty cautious within NOAA, so we're actually still closed right now, but expecting, by the summer when you guys come up, you guys, what you could do? You could do a podcast from the exhibits with the ship, the full life-size ship right behind you with the thunder crashing.
Yes. That would be really cool. I don't know that this summer is the summer of that, but that is on the list. I just mean because of my family situation. But yes, you've convinced me. I will write that on the list of cool ideas. Awesome. I love it. Okay, but you're hoping by this summer. Obviously, nobody knows, but hopefully by this summer, because it does sound like a great visitor center. And since I do have all these kids, they'll want to see that, or I want to make them see that, even if they don't want to see it.
Yeah. And they love it. The kids. What's cool about it is it's very hands-on. You can climb on the schooner. Pull on the rigging. There's a slide that makes you feel like you're scuba diving. And it's also the launch point for the glass bottom boat. So
there we go. Done and done and done. And one of the cool things about your diving is that Big Five dive. And what I know about it is there's a neat film that you can view. And again, if you go listen to episode 14, you hear all about it. But I think that film was originally part of this film festival. Is that correct? And so professionally segueing into the ninth annual Thunderbay Film Festival. 10th. Oh, hold on. I was looking at the old website. Let me update my notes. The 10th annual, which is 9+1. Thunderbay Film Festival. Tell me about this film festival. How did this come about? It's such a cool idea.
This is one of the most fun parts of our jobs here at the Marine Sanctuary is, reaching out to that waterway, the global waterway that we're all connected to, right? The Great Lakes, as you guys know, you talk about this on your show all the time. This, it's a very important part of our water system on the planet, very important ecosystem. 20% of the world's freshwater surface supply. So we know that. So we got to remind our audiences, we got to remind ourselves that it's an important place and that what we do every day here in the Great Lakes does affect our ocean ecosystems. And so we partner with the International Ocean Film Festival, which is the longest running of its kind. I believe it's in its 19th year this year. And they curate hundreds and hundreds of submissions every year from the latest in ocean filmmaking. And so they do all the hard work. They jury these films and they cull out and they pick the top, they pick the best. And then we get that whole package and we show I think there's like 70 plus films this year from the San Francisco International Ocean Film Festival collection, and then we add some Great Lakes content, of course. And so it's a great way to celebrate being a part of the National Marine Sanctuary system because we show films from other national marine sanctuaries, but also a great way to show all that ocean content. So really anything you can think about a theme that might be covered in an ocean film festival, we've got a film for it. So sharks, surfing, climate change, ocean acidification, sea level rise, aquaculture, the list goes on and on.
Is this something that people can only see in person, or is there a virtual way that we can watch it?
Well, it is virtual the last 2 years. Just for some reason, we decided to go virtual. So it has been in person since 2012, and it's been, we do it every January in Alpena. And so Alpena is a cold, snowy town in the winter, and it's such a great activity to do. It's almost a week long when we're in person, right? Almost a week long, and people can come to the visitor center. We have a 100-seat theater. And of course we have popcorn, and we have receptions and parties, and filmmakers come and talk about their films. Scientists come and share the science that's covered in the films. So the in-person event is super cool. You don't want to miss that in January of 2023. However, this year and then last year we did our first virtual. And at first when I was planning the virtual last year, I was a little sad that we wouldn't be able to do the in-person, but it turned out to be really amazing being virtual, as you know, with your program that can reach all corners of the globe. That's what we found. We found people joining the virtual film fest from Brazil, from Russia, from literally all over the world. So we were able to to reach people that may never visit the Great Lakes, that may
Yeah.
never even know about the Great Lakes. So virtual has its benefits. And so in going forward, we will likely always do a hybrid now. But
Yeah.
but next year we're going to have some good film fest parties for you guys to come in January of 23.
It's going the wrong way in January. I'll be honest. You're supposed to go south, but we'll look into it. So how does the virtual thing work? Is it like, is there a certain time where the films? Because you have, I don't know how many films you have, a half a dozen or a dozen or something, I would guess. And so do they stream at a certain time, or is it like you have a window? What is that?
It's a window. It's definitely a window, and we've got dozens and dozens of films.
Dozens and dozens. Oh,
Wow.
I stand corrected. Okay.
I haven't even done the full count yet, but I'm looking at least 70 films,
Wow.
which is super cool. Now, these films are not all feature length, of course. So some of them are 5 minutes long, some are 15 minutes long. But the content, so much amazing content there. So lots and lots of films, and there's a window of time. So January 26th through February 6th, and you can buy your tickets right now, which is super cool. Go to thunderbayfriends.org and get I recommend the Thunder Pass, which gives you all access. It's $100, gives you access to everything. Or if you want to just see a couple films, they're $10 to $12 each, depending. So kind of like going to the regular movies. And what's another very convenient thing is it's really similar to Netflix. So let's say you start, a 2.5 hour long surfing film, and you want to take a break, or you want to finish it the next day, or you want to watch it over again. You have access to whatever films you've signed up for or purchased throughout that whole 12 days.
Got it. Here we go. All right. So I'm at, all right, thunderbayfriends.org. We'll put a link to this in the show notes, which, if I can count, is at teachmeaboutthegreatlakes.com/49, because this is episode 49. And I'm there now. And you have a film catalog. Yeah, Thunder Pass. That's the way to go. Don't mess
That's
around.
The way to go.
Yeah.
And if you click on that film catalog, the film guide, it's going to pop up just like Netflix. It has little movie poster looking things. And then you click on those. And if there's a trailer available with the film, you can, even though it hasn't started yet, because it's, it starts on the 26th, you still can watch trailers. You can read about the films.
Awesome.
You can kind of plan your festival experience.
Oh, yeah. And you have these great. So I watched the overall trailer to prepare for this, but I hadn't really. I didn't really dig through this, but you have, different programs, things like films about the National Marine Sanctuaries, female director program. That sounds interesting to really make sure that you're focusing on amazing films from diverse voices. Whales. Oh, I'm going to have to do that one. Yeah, you're right. So this is cool. So it's a window. You go to the website, $100. That's a good deal for all of this. And
it does support the Friends of Thunderbay National Marine Sanctuary, which is the nonprofit that supports our missions here at the Marine Sanctuary. So it all goes to a good cause, and it's 12 days of film fun.
Yeah, that's like $10 a day. I spend that just on hair product. Yeah. I don't actually, if you've ever seen me. Anyway, that's cool. And is there a student film competition this year too?
Oh, yes. I'm so glad you asked, because that's one of the coolest things. So student film competition is in its 7th year this year. And in fact, our good friend Megan, who was in the Big Five Dive with me, who was on episode 14,
I think, or I'm sending everybody the wrong place, but whatever. Yeah.
Well, they're all good. They're all good shows.
All good. Episodes.
She helped launch that student film competition, which let me tell you.
Yep, of course she did. She's awesome. Yeah.
She's awesome. Which, you might think, what can, some high school students really produce when it comes to filmmaking? And every single year, I am just so impressed. Some have brought me to tears. They're awesome. And so we have a good partnership with the local high school here, Alpena High School, and some dedicated instructors have made it an assignment and made it part of their coursework to submit a film, which really makes it a big difference, because especially in these times, it's kind of, you want to help as much as you can, the students and the instructors. And so we've just got the submissions in, and we have every year up until actually this year, we've had a specific theme for the film festival, for the student competition. So we would change it. So the first year it was #water_is, and then it was #biodiversity is. And so the students would get to, make a film based on that theme. And they did a great job of that. And then this year we changed it to science in the sanctuary. And we wanted students to really explore, what sanctuary means to them. So it could be based in Thunderbay National Marine Sanctuary. It could be set in any of the other 15 National Marine Sanctuary sites, or it could be just what a sanctuary is to you. So there's prizes. Students can enter from all over the world. So if you miss the deadline this year, there'll be a student competition next year. So there's opportunities for 9th through 12th graders to submit a short film.
That is really cool. That is cool. And now I imagine the quality only goes up, like as technology just becomes. I think about what we had to do. So some buddies of mine and I made a film. I won't tell you all the details. Well, it was called All Stopped Up in high school. I was actually not really part of it. These are film. One of these guys ended up working in Hollywood. The other one is an attorney, and it was about a guy with a bad case of constipation. But I won't go into all the details.
Thank you.
But yep, you're welcome. But making that film was a big challenge because it was all VHS tapes and stuff like that. And so and now with oh my God, I've never sounded older. Never mind. I'm going to just end this conversation right now. Making All Stopped Up will be a lot easier now. I guess that's all I have to say. That's cool. I'm super fired up. Yeah. So everybody just go to thunderbayfriends.org and get your Thunder Pass. It's not that
And
hard.
you can also watch. I'm sorry, Stuart. I just want to mention before I forget. You can watch those student films. You can watch the winners and I think the top 3, if I remember correctly, in each year. And take a look at some of those winners, which just are, you would be impressed. So there's links at thunderbayfriends.org.
Oh, is there really? Okay. Huh. Well, I'm going to put those links in the show notes. Yeah, once I find them. I'll dig them up and find them. Yeah.
And you know what I'll do? This has inspired me. I'm going to post the winners of each year on our Facebook page, the Sanctuary's Facebook page.
Great. And we'll have links to that too. I don't have a Facebook, but I'll make sure that the people who do get it posted or get it figured out for me. So that's cool. Well, awesome. All right. Thunderbay Film Festival, and if I got my math right, we're releasing this episode on the 17th of January, which is just a week or so before the film festival premieres. So no time like the present, kids. Go get your Thunder Pass and get ready. Maybe we'll have I'll tell you what. Right now, tweet at us if there's a film you really liked, and maybe we can have a conversation online about it. That'll be fun. Is there like a film festival hashtag? Is that a thing? I'm so bad at social engagement. We needed Hope on for this, but let's pretend that I'm not. And are y'all doing some of the engagement stuff, or? For
sure, we're doing our best. We're doing hashtag Pure Michigan because everything's Pure Michigan and super cool. And then hashtag TBIFF for Thunder Bay International Film Festival, and then Thunder Bay Shipwrecks is another good one. But I think TBIFF. Get into your sanctuary is another hashtag we use, harkening back to that, accessibility, and we want people to enjoy and recreate and get out on the water and in the water, under the water. So those are our hashtags, and there also, I forgot to mention, there will be some live Q&As.
Oh, cool.
I've got 3 scheduled right now, but there'll be probably 5 to 6 live Q&As with filmmakers and scientists that you can watch in real time, or they'll be recorded as well.
Will those be during the day when I can watch, or at night when I have other duties? During the day, I can pretend I'm working.
They are. I think most of them will be at night.
Okay. Then I'll watch the recordings. No problem.
That's right. They will be recorded.
That sounds good. So what about accessibility? Think about that with diving. It just occurred to me that diving is, so shifting back, less professionally this time, more how my brain actually works. So accessibility in diving, that's kind of is there something you can do to make the shipwrecks more accessible to broader audiences? Maybe people who don't dive or who can't dive for various reasons. Is that a thing or no?
That's the best question ever. Excellent question. Because that's what we're all about. Because you're 100% right. As Megan knows, 1% of the population scuba dives. Most people are smart enough to not want to know that we do not breathe underwater. Foolish people like Megan and I like to do it anyway. But most people, don't scuba dive. And so how do we bring these shipwrecks to the public and, engage them and, get their investment in wanting to protect them? And with technology, like we were talking with the filmmaking technology, it's very similar. We have technology to bring the shipwrecks to the people, virtual experiences. If you look on the sanctuaries.noaa.gov website, they have a 360 page where there's some 360 videos where you literally can dive. You can use the goggles, which are super cool too, but you don't have to, and you literally can experience what it's like to dive through a shipwreck or through coral reefs. and you can look all around, just like 360 virtual tour. So there's that way to bring it to the people. There's also virtual still images. We document these shipwrecks and monitor, so we continue to document them throughout time, and then we can bring those images and videos to the people. And then what really engages people is the stories of the shipwrecks, right? I mean, the images are striking and compelling, of course, but the stories of the people, everyday people like us who lived and thrived on the Great Lakes. The shipwrecks that went down tell the stories of the tragic few that did lose their lives, but they also tell the stories of the thousands and thousands that made their living and lived to an old age, and their experiences, their history is not necessarily recorded in our history books. And so that's what's compelling to a lot of people about these shipwrecks, is that human element. That's story.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm there now at the virtual tour stuff. That's really cool. A lot of pictures, and that idea of telling those stories. That's really neat, because you're right. Nobody else is doing that. That occurred to me. That there's a goofy Twitter account, Lake Superior or whatever, and the whole deal is it's like a snarky embodiment of the lake, and but on the day of the Edmund Fitzgerald, it just tweets out all the names of the people who died, and Edmund Fitzgerald doesn't mean squat to me, but in thinking about it, it wasn't that long ago, right? And so there are some people for whom it's really still probably a live issue. And that really got me thinking about this idea of, right, shipwrecks aren't just things to dive, but they're people's history and people's lives. And that was really powerful to think about, I guess.
Yeah, they're grave sites for a lot. Many of them are grave sites. And of course, they demand respect. And that was Fitzgerald was 1975.
Yeah.
So you guys probably weren't. I know you weren't alive.
I was almost born. Yeah, I was born in. I'm not going to say when, but it was 1978. And so yeah. But right. So that's basically roughly in my lifetime. Yeah.
Right. And so that reminds me of a story I want to share just real quick about people that are connected to this history. You're right. You think about it. Well, over 100 years ago, who is alive these days? In 2017, the Sanctuary and partners discovered two shipwrecks, the Ohio and the Choctaw, both deep shipwrecks, 300 feet deep. And we announced the discovery. It was a great, exciting research project. Couldn't do it without our partners. And I got an email not long after our announcement of this really nice lady. Her name was Diane. And she said that her aunt remembers the Captain Fox of the Choctaw, talking about the sinking. He and the crew survived the sinking of the Choctaw.
Wow.
And she remembers her grandpa. She was a little girl talking about this sinking, and she was so excited. She hadn't been to the sanctuary, so it was Aunt Ruth. She, I think, was 92 in 2017, and she came and visited and talked with our historians. What a neat connection, and really it really brought it to life.
Huh. It really did. Well, great. This is really fascinating stuff, Stephanie, and I'm so glad. Oh, wait, we just had a visitor.
That's my obnoxious black cat, Sebastian.
Oh, black cats are the best cats. So, no, that's all great. Anyway, not on the podcast. Sorry, listeners at home. You don't get the full VIP experience that we get when we're actually doing the recording. That's stinks for you. Awesome for me. Anyway, all this is actually really interesting stuff, Stephanie. I'm so glad to hear about it. Love to hear about the sanctuary and the film festival and, of course, diving and things like that. But that's actually not why we invited you here on Teach Me About the Great Lakes this week. The reason we invited you on is to ask you two questions. And the first one we had an answer for, but I'm curious as to whether or not it's changed. And that is this. If you could have a great donut for breakfast or a great sandwich for lunch, which would you choose?
Without a doubt, a great sandwich for lunch.
Still going sandwich. All right. And so when I'm in Alpena, I'm there for the Thunderbay film. No, I'm not there for the film festival because that's in January. I'm there over the summer.
It's inside, Stuart. We watch the movies inside a warm
inside. That'd be intense, actually. You could have a special outdoor track.
Thought about it.
You pay people, though. It'd be opposite, right? But anyway, all right. So I'm there in Alpena either over the summer or in January, or, because there are other seasons too. Anyway, and I want to get a good sandwich. Where should I go and what should I get?
That's a tough one because we have some amazing sandwich places, amazing lunch places here. We're not a big city. About 10,000 people live here, but we've got some great choices for food. So I don't know if I can pick just one. What comes to mind is the Hungry Hippie. Doesn't necessarily have sandwiches, but they have bowls, like rice bowls and Buddha bowls and yummy, flavorful stuff with this garlic sauce. But then the Fresh Palette is one of my favorite places right downtown, where you can get super healthy, tasty food. They change their menu all the time, so I would get a sandwich there. And then, of course, there's Austin Brothers Brewing Company, which if you're going to go to lunch and you don't have to work the rest of the day, that's a great place to go. Their burgers are awesome. So There's choices.
So why in a town of 10,000, which is 1/17 the size of the greater Lafayette area, do you have more good-sounding restaurants than we have in this entire city?
We're a special place, man.
You are. I agree. This is my ongoing two things about West Lafayette. One, why can't we get some snow? Because we got the cold. Just give us the snow too.
Yeah,
and two, just one good restaurant. I would like one good restaurant. It will happen though. The thing is, we're growing, and one of these days, we'll get a good restaurant. No, I'm just kidding. We have plenty of good restaurants, but those all three of those sound good. All right, second question. And this has changed since last time you were on. I can't remember what we asked you before, but now we'd like to ask our guests, is there like and maybe you can make this dive relevant, is there like a special place in the Great Lakes that you want to share with our audience, and what makes it, special to you?
Oh my goodness. So I'm not from the Great Lakes. And so on the one hand, I think I can answer that. I mean, I might be able to offer a different perspective. Oh. On the other hand, I also don't know a lot of places that native Great Lakes people do. But the first place that pops into my mind is 40 Mile Point, which is just a few miles north of Rogers City, Michigan. So as I sit right here in Alpena, it's like a half-hour drive. And I was actually featured in the Big Five Dive. And what's amazing about 40 Mile Point, it's like a perfect maritime heritage classroom. It has a beautiful lighthouse, 40 Mile Point Lighthouse, which you can climb, lighthouse keeper's quarters, an actual wheelhouse from a Great Lakes freighter sits there on the sand. It has a foghorn signal building, and then really cool, to bring it back to Shipwrecks, which I just can't help, there's remains of a wooden freighter on the beach, and then the rest of that freighter is out in the lake a couple hundred yards. It's about 18 feet deep. Great. That's where I'd take you, Megan, when you come to dive, is to the shipwreck Joseph S. Fay off of 40 Mile Point. And then on top of all that cultural heritage that's right there in your face at 40 Mile Point, it's a beautiful forested pine area. There's trails through the woods, and then a gorgeous beach. I swear, it looks like the Caribbean. Nice sandy beach with aquamarine colors. 40 Mile Point off the shores of Northeast Michigan's my answer.
Very cool. We will write that down, and you can check that out in the show notes. And you've dove in there, and it sounds like Megan will too. Hopefully this summer. That's the promise. We'll check in every year or two. We like to have you on, Stephanie, so we'll check in. And but it's been a tough couple of years, I think.
It has a little bit.
Diving's a good COVID activity. Like even if things, I don't even want to say it. But so even over this winter where we're concerned about stuff, it's a good thing to do. Have you done any cool dives like during COVID?
Yeah, I kept diving quite a bit. So I was very fortunate to do some travel responsibly, and got to dive very far outside the Great Lakes.
Hold on. I forgot. There's a way I got to do this. Hold on. Uh-oh. So do you have, how many places do you want to tell us about?
I'll tell you about 2.
Your top two COVID dives. All right. So we're going to do a drum roll, and then you're going to name,
but I feel bad they're not in the Great Lakes, so I feel like I
don't care. No, this is Stephanie's top 2 places. We have an international audience, beyond just the U.S. and Canada, so it's okay. They'll want to know. All right, so we're gonna do a drum roll. You're gonna name it, then we're gonna have like a symbol, and then you're gonna tell us about it. It's a complicated dance that it's always right. And it never works out. I'm always like, why do you make this so hard, Stuart, you moron? But, and then instead of learning, which is what some people would do, I just figured next time we'll get it right. Okay. Right. So we'll do them in countdown order. So the number 2 best place to dive for Stephanie Gondola during COVID is
Cuba, Gardens of the Queen.
Something Gardens of the Queen. The drum roll cut you off. Again, I have screwed this up. Oh my God. If you could repeat the name so I could hear it, that'd be great.
Cuba.
Cuba. Oh, like the Cuba?
Like the country of Cuba.
Oh.
And actually, maybe that wasn't fair because we went in February of 20.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like right before
No,
everything.
it counts. It counts. We're getting global audience. No, that's good. So tell me about Cuba Gardens of the Queen.
So it's another protected area, a beautiful coral reef. And because of the level of protection, it's a coral reef that does not look like many of the other world's coral reefs, which are bleached, and a lot less fish life. And this is just a vibrant, beautiful place. You get to dive with sharks, which is awesome, silky sharks and reef sharks, and also got to snorkel with a crocodile.
No way.
No, he's an alligator. Now I just confused myself. A toothy reptile I got to snorkel with.
Did it try to eat you? If it tried to eat you, it might have been a crocodile.
He did not. He's friendly. Well, not super social, but.
Yeah. I mean, I only have one arm now, but the thing is, who needs to?
Right.
Yeah. All right. And the number one place, according to Stephanie Gondola, to dive during COVID, I will point at you when we're ready.
Thunderbay National Marine Sanctuary.
For the win, Thunderbay. Over, you have, what was it, dozens and dozens of shipwrecks, up to, I can't remember the number, it's about 100, was that right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, and everything ranging from glass bottom boats for total beginners like me, or snorkeling for people who can swim. I can swim, of course, and all the way up to just expert technical diving. And what is your favorite place to dive in? Do you dive the same site over and over? Is that a thing, or do you like the novelty?
Well, a little of both. Like I mentioned, we do put those mooring buoys out, so we go back to those same 40 plus sites every year. And then, I guess I do visit a lot of. I'd like to visit some of the ones I haven't. I guess it comes down to the necessity to getting there and all that. So a favorite site in Thunder Bay, I might have to go back to my favorite place in all the Great Lakes. Oh, actually, I'm going to amend that. My favorite dive site in Thunder Bay, which is actually just outside Thunder Bay proper. So Thunder Bay, is out of Alpena. It's like 10 miles long, 10 miles wide, big bay. And just outside of it is a shipwreck called the Montana, which is about 65 feet deep. I love it because it's a site that's not super deep. Recreational divers like Megan can go and visit it, but it still has a ton of relief. It has a 30-foot high engine still standing upright. It's super cool. It has a massive 10-foot diameter propeller, just, it's sitting there on its keel. Two things I'll mention I love about it. It has burbot. So you guys know about burbot. Yeah. So there's always 9 times out of 10, there's big burbot hanging out there. Nice. And I swear it's the same one. I swear it's one of my buddies is down there every time. And then I do like that it's named Montana, which many ships in the Great Lakes were, because I happen to be from Montana.
Oh, there we go. Well, that's great. It's excellent. So burbot was one of the high picks. We recently drafted fish, because, you got to draft fish, and burbot was a high pick. They're the ones who sing during intimate moments.
I did not know this.
Yep. Yes, they do. So you can listen to that draft with Titus Sarlheimer and, of course, the wonderful Katie O'Reilly. I'll put a link in the show notes. It was about 3 episodes ago. Yeah. So that is good. And the Shipwreck Montana, that is also good. So we'll put links to that in the show notes. We'll also put links. So we spoke with Kathy Green a few episodes ago, episode 37 of the Wisconsin Maritime Museum. She talked a lot about diving and sort of the cool thing about the Great Lakes being how well everything is preserved, which is not guaranteed, especially as the lakes change, I think. But anyway, so go check that out at teachmeaboutthe.com/37. And then we asked her who else we should talk to, and she recommended you. And I said, well, we've already done that. We'll do it again. Anyway.
Kathy's awesome. She's been my dive buddy before.
There you go.
Good.
Great. Well, Stephanie Gondola, the research coordinator and marine archaeologist with the Thunderbay National Marine Sanctuary, but more importantly to our purposes today, the host, I don't know what coordinator of the 10th, not the 9th. That's old news. The 10th annual Thunder Bay Film Festival. Go get yourself a Thunder Pass, people. Just do it. Listen to these or watch these films, and it should be a lot of fun. But anyway, Stephanie, thank you for coming on and teaching us all about the Great Lakes.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. And the next time I see you, I hope it's in Alpena.
I agree. I agree. Awesome, Stephanie. Thank you so much. We will now mute the live stream. Megan and I will record our little bit of outro stuff. Thank you, live listeners. Looks like there were somewhere between 10. I don't know how to read YouTube stats, but there were a few of you, so thank you. And goodbye. I will end the live stream now. Okay.
Thanks, Stephanie. I will be up there sometime this year.
I hope so. Yeah, it's great fun. It is such a beautiful area too. It's like